going to start Chapter 15 on Human Resources Management. This starts Unit 5 on Human Resources. Lesson 15.1 talks about employees, the keys to success. So our objectives for this section are to define human resources management, describe how a company attracts and rewards good employees, and discuss what a human resources manager should consider about job applicants. So the first thing is we want to define exactly what is human resources. Henry Ford, the pioneer automaker who is responsible for the Ford Motor Company, once said, "You can take my factories, burn up my buildings, but give me my people and I'll build the business right back again." So human resources acknowledges that the most valuable asset of a company is the people that it employs. And so human resources are the people employed in a business, commonly referred to as personnel. The people provide the skills, labor, and experience needed to make the business productive. Now, human resources management is not the same thing as supervising people, not supervising workers. So this is not necessarily just management or managers, but specifically human resources management. They're the ones that are in charge of the process of finding, selecting, training, and evaluating employees. So the first step in order to in this process is to find the right person for a job. And so that's going to be under the category of meeting staffing needs. So step one is if you have an open position in the company, you want to write a job description to advertise for this position. And a job description is a detailed outline of the duties, qualifications, and conditions required to do a specific job. So for example, the job description for a graphic artist position could say that the job involves being creative, meeting deadlines, and being able to use a computer. The job might also require a certain level of experience and education. And also, another thing that's important about the job description is to determine the length of time. Is this a part-time position, or is it a full-time position? Is it permanent, or is it temporary? Another part of filling a job is making sure that you are attracting good employees by offering competitive compensation. So compensation is both pay and benefits. It's the entire package. So when you're paid, this can be in the form of a wage or a salary. So a wage is a specific dollar amount that's paid on an hourly basis. So if you work 20 hours, you get so much. If you work 25, you get a little bit more. Whereas salary is a fixed amount for a specific time period, like a week, a month, a year. And it doesn't matter if you work more than 40 hours a week or less than 40 hours a week, you're going to get paid the same amount as long as you're doing the required job, you're meeting your goals. So then the other part of compensation is benefits. So benefits are the extra compensation that workers receive, such as health and life insurance, sick leave, holiday pay, and retirement plans. So as a reminder for those of you not in my finance class, retirement plans provide employees with money after working at a company for however many years that they work there, whether it's 10, 15, 20. And then you can also have your own retirement plan that you contribute towards as well, but that would not be considered a benefit of the company. Some companies offer pension plans. You hear that a lot. And a pension plan is a retirement plan that is funded in part by the employer. Some other companies offer profit-sharing plans. A profit-sharing plan will make an annual contribution to the employee's retirement fund when the company makes a profit. Another type of retirement plan, which is more commonly, is called a 401k. And this is in the United States. The 401k refers to the tax code that governs this. And so a 401k, employees set aside a percentage of their funds from each paycheck to go into the 401k account, and then many employers will match that percentage up to a certain amount. So if I could contribute 5%, then my company could also contribute 5%, which would double the amount that's going into my retirement account each month. I do kind of miss that about working overseas. That automatically happened, or working back home in the States. When you work overseas, for us, it doesn't happen like that. We get a lump sum at the end of our contract. And then the last thing of job recruitment, of meeting staffing needs, is of course the process of recruiting. So recruitment means actively looking for qualified people to fill a job. So some qualities that recruiters are always looking for would be workplace skills such as responsibility, initiative, dependability, punctuality, professional dress, positive attitude, self-respect, integrity, and respect for others. So most recruiters first consider filling a new job with someone who already works for the company, and if no one is qualified, interested, or available, then the manager recruits outside the company. One way to recruit people is by placing ads in newspapers and magazines, at schools, such as universities, or on the internet. Employment agencies, referrals from other employees, and job fairs are also ways to find qualified workers. That's what happens with most international teaching, is a lot of us are hired based upon attending a job fair or because we know people who've worked at that school and they can refer us. So networking, that whole process is called networking. All right, so let's say we are recruiting these job applicants and now we want to consider the ones that have applied. So a human resources manager has to decide which one they're going to hire. And there are 4 steps to selecting the right person, also called the candidate for the job. So the first thing is that the recruiter is going to review each candidate's application and or resume. An application is a form companies give to potential employees to complete, and it will give you a chance to list your work experience, your education, your skills, and your references. Many applicants also submit a resume. So a resume is a worker's summary of academic and work history. And we'll have some practice on writing a resume because that is probably one of the most important job skills you can have, is being able to write an effective resume. So reviewing the resume, the application, the resume leads to the screening step. So when screening is the system of selecting the suitable people for the job. So they go through and they say, okay, I like this person, I don't like that person. And so eventually they are left with a smaller list of people that they're interested in. So recruiters review the applications to see which people meet the minimum qualifications. And only those that do are going to be considered further. So then the next step is to interview the selected candidates. So an interview is a meeting in which the recruiter asks an applicant questions and to see if the applicant is right for the job. It allows the company to get more details about that person. But it also shows shows the interviewer how the applicant is able to communicate. Are they effective or not? Are they able to answer the basic questions? Interviews also allow the applicants to find out more about the company. So they're kind of interviewing the company as well to see if it's a right fit for them. So they help applicants to see if the company is a good place to work. Many companies, and then after the application process, some companies will test job applicants as a part of the interview process. So testing helps companies make sure that job candidates have the right skills and character for a job. Now I'm going to go ahead and fix this slide, and so I'll need to adjust it on your other slide, because as reviewing this, step 2 was actually screening, and step 3 was interviewing and testing. There we go. Little fix. And back to the show. Okay, so then finally, once they have interviewed and tested and they've selected their candidate, the final step is the background check. All right, so the background check is the process of verifying the certain information provided by the job applicant. So verifying they have the degree they say they have, verifying that they have worked at the places they say they've worked at. Then also, depending on what job you're hiring for, they could be looking at your financial history as well. Because if you're in a position where you have access to a lot of money, they want to make sure you have good credit and you don't have a lot of debt, because they don't want to run the risk of you taking money from the company or misusing funds in any way. So then another characteristic that they're going to look for is the reference. So a reference is a person that can basically vouch for you. They can comment on your character and they can comment on your qualifications. So the statement is also known, the statement itself. So if I were to ask for a reference from Ms. Jurbeck for me to apply for another job, she would write up a letter, an essay, and that is also known as the reference as well. So reference refers to the person giving the referral and to the statement that they give about the candidate. So it's important to be truthful in job applications and resumes and in interviews. Failing to do so can prevent you from being hired. If it's discovered that you've given false information, you could be fired. The offer could be rescinded, and you could actually be blacklisted in other jobs as well that are similar to that one. Because it's a small world out there. People do talk, so got to be careful. And that's it for the first section. Let's move on to the second section.